To meet food safety standards and keep the long-running buffet chain up and running, all employees at Golden Corral must stick to a set of rules and guidelines, some of which might surprise you. You know a rule is important when the government has to get involved if you mess it up. Golden Corral is adamant that their employees have adequate food safety training to make sure that they're sending satisfied customers home with full bellies and not running to the bathroom with a tummy hitting the eject button. Reducing the chances of foodborne diseases is the name of the game here, since an average of 3,000 Americans unfortunately die each year from foodborne diseases. As a result, the Food Safety Modernization Act transformed the food safety system by saying, hey, instead of treating people who get sick from bad food, why don't we just make sure the food isn't bad in the first place? That's where food safety courses come in. This training makes room for employees to be in a better position to manage and prevent hazards by doing a deep dive into things like personal hygiene, temperature control, cross-contamination, and all other types of important details when it comes to preparing food. In addition to this, all managers at Golden Corral must be ServSafe certified, which goes a step beyond the basic food safety training course. To make sure everything is on the up and up, Golden Corral restaurants also receive quarterly third-party food safety audits. Going even further, the Internal Quality Assurance Department audits each franchise location 5 times a year and each company location 8 times per year, which means the restaurant better not be slacking back in the kitchen.
Make sure they thoroughly understand it, that this is the standard, this is the way in which Golden Corral wants us to do it.
Produce. So healthy, but occasionally super dangerous. In addition to containing a wide array of nutrients that are vital to your well-being, raw fruits and vegetables can also sometimes contain less appealing things like harmful germs, such as E. coli, Listeria, and Salmonella. These and other germs are responsible for the almost 48 million cases of food poisoning in the U.S. every year. So for the employees at Golden Corral, properly selecting and cleaning fruits and vegetables is a simple, straightforward way to keep the customers from making an emergency trip to the bathroom. One of the main reasons our fruits and veggies may be packing an unwelcome bacterial guest is because they're handled by many different people, from the harvesting stage to the packaging, so the risk of contamination is increased. Since the food washing police can't be on call all the time, it's important to Golden Corral for its employees to play it safe and just give their produce a good scrub. Keeping employees off their phones while they work is a no-brainer rule, as distracted employees will definitely lead to slower service and unhappy customers. Any Golden Corral employees who think they're being sneaky with their smartwatch are in for a rude awakening, as they're banned as well. Golden Corral isn't trying to be lame, they're just trying to create an environment where the employees engage with each other and customers instead of being glued to their screens. This rule also falls under the umbrella of food safety as well, because we hate to break it to you, but that phone you're playing with all day? Yeah, it's all kinds of gross. Most mobile devices are plagued with 10 times the amount of bacteria as compared to a toilet seat because, sadly, most of us wash our toilets more frequently than our phones. So since playing on a phone is somehow worse than rubbing your hands all over a toilet, Golden Corral makes sure their employees don't have theirs around when handling food. Now, go give your phone a bath. A few years ago, a now former employee posted a YouTube video that went viral and raised a lot of eyebrows about the restaurant's sanitary practices.
This hamburger meat, look at all these flies. It's disgusting.
Showing hamburger patties and other food items stored next to a dumpster.
The whistleblowing employee was unfortunately fired as a result, and that unpleasant amateur expose is a good example of why the restaurant wants to keep other workers from following suit. And if you're watching this video and thinking, well, then why not just take the video and post it later? You've got a good point. The problem is that employees are also liable for whatever they post on social media after working hours if it paints Golden Corral in a negative light. To be fair to Golden Corral, one location's unsanitary habits doesn't necessarily reflect on the franchise as a whole. And even in the cleanest restaurant, there's a good reason to steer clear of social media while you're on the clock, as it doesn't exactly make for a productive work environment. We all need a break every once in a while. Even just a few minutes to get our minds right can do wonders for any hard worker. Golden Corral totally agrees with that. Just don't expect them to pay for it. You're not wrong if this seems unfair. But before you grab your picket sign and head off to protest your nearest Golden Corral, you should read up on some state law. Some states in America do not require employers to provide paid breaks, especially if they are hourly workers as opposed to full-time salaried employees. Now, if your desire to protest won't go away, we're not stopping you from paying a visit to your state representatives, but just know that the restaurant is simply playing by the rules it's been given. While it won't be paid in some areas, Golden Corral employees are allowed a 30-minute unpaid break for every 5 hours worked, and the chain is legally required to allow that worker to soak up every second of that time. Financially struggling employees may be less inclined to take breaks in an effort to make as much money as they can. And in the end, this could become a problem for Golden Corral. Studies have shown that employees who take breaks are more likely to go above and beyond for the restaurant. So aside from getting a win in the public relations department, the chain would benefit if employees weren't financially penalized for taking breaks. Golden Corral doesn't care how flattering you think those leggings are. Keep them at home. Employees are provided with uniforms at no cost to try and maintain a cohesive look across the restaurant. And while they're allowed to substitute items from their wardrobe, blue jeans, corduroys, and leggings aren't allowed. On top of a well-dressed staff giving the impression of a clean and well-managed establishment, it also makes it easier for customers to quickly identify staff and let them know that they need more fried chicken and they need it now. The dress code even goes so far as to detail the exact placement of an employee's name tag. Employees at Golden Corral also need to be fully dressed and ready to start working the instant they walk in the door for their shift. So just a heads up for any employees who might be coming from their other job as a circus clown, get changed in the clown car. We're going to take a quick break from listing what Golden Corral employees can't do and let you know what they can do. And most importantly, they can get discounted food and free beverages while on duty.
Best job ever had, hands down, Golden Corral. Better than this tonight. Better than Comedy Central, Golden Corral.
It's a clever move on the restaurant's part, as a discounted meal not only boosts morale, but it also keeps employees on the premises and puts money back into Golden Corral's pocket. It also brings it back to food safety, because there will hopefully be a little extra incentive for staff to make sure the food is clean and good to go if they're going to eat it themselves. If you're a big fan of the beard, then Golden Corral might not be the place for you. Even if it's for religious purposes, the chain prefers its workers to be clean-shaven. If finding out how dirty your phone is caused you some dismay and you happen to have a beard, you better buckle up, buddy, because those face whiskers are also pretty gross. Beard hair tends to carry a significant amount of bacteria, and a few hours in a hot and steamy kitchen isn't going to help matters. The guideline is stated quite clearly in the rulebook, so if you come into your interview looking like a mountain man, the supervisor is going to mention it. There's always that one person who is going to try and test their luck, but it's highly unlikely that Golden Corral will budge on this rule, no matter how fantastic your hairy face shield may be. In the end, food safety is always going to win out against the almighty beard. If you need a smoke break while working at Golden Corral, you better work on your quick change. The restaurant does not accommodate smokers, so don't expect any smoke breaks. And even after working a long shift, employees will have to wait until they leave the premises and change out of their uniforms before enjoying that long-awaited puff. As much as that may stink for smokers, the rule is there because of, well, the stink. There's not too many people whose idea of quality service includes their server hovering over their food while smelling like an episode of Mad Men. Additionally, smoke that lingers on clothing and breath can transfer to food, potentially leading to contamination issues, and the restaurant isn't going to risk a lawsuit just for someone's right to puff up. Legal issues aside, employees literally represent the restaurant, and this rule might also be in place in order to protect the buffet's professional image. Heads up for any smokers planning a workaround by chewing some nicotine gum to get them through their shift, as gum is also a no-go at the corral. Golden Corral doesn't mess around when it comes to sanitation. Even though it may fall under the category of, well, duh for some people, employees have to make sure that they regularly clean surfaces using disinfectants, wash their hands, and any other food utensils to reduce the risk of cross-contamination, as well as minimizing the spread of pathogens in the restaurant. No restaurant wants to be known as the place that got everyone sick, especially since food safety regulators can bring the hammer down on any place lacking with their sanitation. Taking it a step further even, Golden Corral has their employees wear gloves at all times in the restaurant. It might seem like a bit much at first, but it makes much more sense when you realize how gross the human hand can be. Since we're living in a post-COVID world, Golden Corral also conducts daily temperature checks for all employees to make sure they're feeling all right, and anyone found exhibiting any fever-like symptoms will be asked to kindly take their sickly selves home. Even if you're the type to try and tough it out, contaminating people's food just isn't worth the risk. Can some of these rules seem a little strict? Sure they can, but at the end of the day, Golden Corral is a business, and they don't want to have anything getting in the way of them bringing in the cash. Having been around since 1973, the company has survived scandals, bad economies, and a worldwide pandemic, so the powers that be know a thing or two about keeping a business alive. Now, go wash your hands.